We sewed old Jake into his bedroll, dug a hole beyond the hay barn, covered him with gravel and flat rocks, took his saddle bits and bridle, his extra shirts and Bible, gathered them and put 'em in a box. We sat up in the bunkhouse and the whiskey did the talking, till the words they drifted off like chimney smoke. Just men who'd done some drinking, we sat in darkness thinking. Then Cookie broke the silence when he spoke. 30 years a cowboy and this is all he left, his riggings and some worn out clothes in a box up on the shelf. Well, old Jake will find range to roam where the cowboy still is king, and riding out on guard some night you'll swear you hear him sing. Jake would ride the fence line from can to cant and then some. There's no better hand at pulling calves. He'd jingle in the horses with a minimum of curses, and gladly take his coffee in a can. Well, Jakey had his wild side and I could tell some stories, but I'd be telling stories on myself. Let me say that he'd been thrown from more horses, bars, and women than you might think would be good for your health. 30 years a cowboy and this is all he left, his riggings and some worn out clothes in a box up on the shelf. Well, old Jake would find range to roam where the cowboy still is king, and riding out on guard some night you'll swear you hear him sing. The foreman sold Jake's outfit, I bid on the Bible, and I read the good book nights before I sleep. Well, Jake was not a good man, but he's a good enough hand, and I pray the Lord that cowboy's soul to keep. Last week in the Brasada, we were gathering in the stragglers. Today was long and I fell way behind. And then I heard Jake's whistle through the cholla and the thistle, and we were popping strays together like old times. 30 years a cowboy and this is all he left, his riggings and some worn out clothes in a box up on the shelf. But old Jake has found a range to roam where the cowboy still is king, and riding out on guard some night you'll swear you hear him sing. And riding out on guard last night I swear I heard Jake sing. He was born to this country, he loved it with his heart and his soul. And Lord, he came out swinging, playing those runs and passing chords. If you can't play it up the neck, then Ray would say you haven't learned to play. And the wayward wind still wants to sing the western swing of Ray Reid's day. Out in Lincoln County when they gather the chuck wagons in the fall, soaring over Capitan, an eagle's shadow on the land, Ray is riding herd above us all. Tough as armadillo, but his heart was as warm as the sun. Born in a siding, but like a racehorse, Ray was born to run. From the string bands to the swing bands in the dance halls all across the Southwest states, the wayward wind still wants to sing the western swing of Ray Reid's day. Out in Ruidoso when they gather up the swing bands in the fall, soaring over Capitan, an eagle's shadow on the land, Ray is riding herd above us all. came late to this country, I'll never see the range without a fence. And I've come late to this music, but I'm riding down a trail that never ends. 'Cause the sunrise and the sunset paint the desert, and those colors never change. And the wayward wind still wants to sing the western swing of Ray Reid's day. The coyotes and the nightbirds spin their melodies upon the wind, the western swing of Ray Reid's day. You better close them on up, 'cause they're starting to spread. These dogies got roaming in their heads. A whoop-a-tie-I-O, move 'em up the road, riding for 30 and found. Cross the Red River and you know we're Montana bound. Cook is in the wagon, can't you hear him sing? Me, I'm dragging behind the Wrangler string. Throw a hula and loop, set your pony's hooves, dally like a top cow hen. Here's a little critter that escaped the springtime brand. My, oh my, dried apple pie, sourdough biscuits, coffee in a can. We're all partaking, corn, dodger, and bacon. Cook is beef stew, potatoes, beans, and ham. Started out in Texas by the Rio Grande, heading up to Montana where the tall trees stand. Pull your blanket tight, see the northern lights shining like a dream of town. Sing a quiet song when you bed the cattle down. Oh, I miss my mama and I miss my pa. I miss our home back in Arkansas, where the boss is tough and the ground is rough. I'm sleeping beneath the stars, and Lord, I never thought I'd ever ride this far. My, oh my, I hate dried apple pie, sourdough biscuits, coffee in a can. Oh, I'm making from partaking, corn, dodger, and bacon. Stringy beef stew, more beans than a man can stand. You better close them on up, 'cause they're starting to spread. Those dogies got a roaming in their head. A whoop-a-tie-I-O, move 'em up the road, riding for 30 and found. Cross the Red River and you know we're Montana. Cross the Red River and you know we're Montana. Cross the Red River and you know we're Montana bound. From a balcony I watch the quiet plaza. Pinion smoke trails out above the roof. Long before I see the horse, I can trace its winding course from the jingle land, the steady sound of hooves. I traded guns for stolen stock across the border, a fugitive on both sides of the line, riding on the edge of danger. Federales and the Rangers racing death. I'm running out of time. Spanish is the loving tongue, the language of our hearts. We tied our souls together, only death to part. Graciela watched me dressed to go, pistols at my side. Goodbye, I said, I'll not return. Adios, my love replied. Northeast from the desert of Sonora, refuge seemed impossible to find. Though the future is unknown, forgiveness is for God alone. Graciela rode there, steady at my side. She rode as long and hard as she was able. When her time came, we had to stop and rest. The push for flight within me died when I heard our baby cry and saw him resting quiet on her breast. Spanish is the loving tongue, the language of our hearts. We tied our souls together, only death to part. Graciela watched me dressed to go, pistols at my side. Goodbye, I said, I'll not return. Adios, my love replied. Outside on the street, my fate awaits me. I cannot hide, there's nothing to run toward. Keep my gold watch for our son. Take my life for the wrongs I've done. Graciela's prayers will guide me to the Lord. From the balcony I watch the quiet plaza. A horseman turns and slowly rides away. Teardrops fall, I bow my head, kneel beside my darling's bed as morning comes to Mission Santa Fe. As morning comes to Mission Santa Fe.